Hey everyone, welcome back to She's Probably Talking to Other Guys. This week's episode is a little different. I've had so many conversations, both with guests and in my solo episodes, that just genuinely stayed with me so long after I stopped recording. I went back and listened to some of them again, and I realized there was a common theme between all of these segments you're about to tune into. Boundaries, growth, red flags, trusting your gut, protecting your peace, and becoming more honest with yourself. Learning that not everybody deserves access to you just because they ask for it. And I think sometimes we hear things at exactly the moment we need to hear them. So, for this episode, I wanted to put together some moments from recent conversations that I personally keep coming back to. Maybe one of them will resonate with you too. Or maybe all of them will. So, whether you're getting ready, going through something, healing from something, or honestly, just trying to figure life out a little bit right now, I'm really happy you're here. Let's get into it.
Just a friendly reminder, I'm not a therapist, psychologist, or expert in human behavior. This is a judgment-free assumption checking zone. Take what resonates and leave the rest.
Let's dive into some assumptions on if they wanted to, they would. Number one, wanting automatically produces action. I don't believe that's accurate whatsoever. I think that there's a lot that happens in order for someone to actually go after something that they want. And some people are just naturally comfortable going after what they want, and other people are a bit more hesitant about it. For example, I'm a logical person. So before I make a decision, you bet that I've already gone through a lot of different ways to make sure that what I want is going to end up being successful. That being said, I am also very spontaneous and I will just say yes to doing things. So I feel like right there is also a pure example of why that assumption is not necessarily always true, because as I mentioned before, there are times where I want something so bad, but I also don't know if I'm going to make someone else uncomfortable by saying something. Let's say in like a romantic way. Sometimes I don't know if someone feels the same way, and that does stop me from saying something. We're not all perfect, myself included. So I think that when it comes to the phrase, if they wanted to, they would. Yes, but no, because there are times when I wanted to, but I didn't for whatever reason, whether it was fear or being nervous or afraid of looking embarrassed. There are so many things that could fall into why I wanted to, but I didn't. While we're on the subject of unpacking how we interact with others, it's so easy to dismiss our own instincts just to keep a connection alive. In this next clip, we're diving into why we downplay those early warning signs, justify the red flags, and how ignoring your gut can cost you so much of your precious time.
Have you ever ignored something because it just didn't feel bad enough in the moment?
Oh yeah. 100%. In that specific relationship, I could never go over to their house. And to me, I just kept telling myself, like, because that person said, I'm embarrassed of what my place looks like because you live in a nicer home and my place isn't that nice. So in my mind, I was like, okay, he's embarrassed. But I told him, I was like, I don't care what your place looks like. Like, I just want to, as long as I'm with you, that's all that matters. But I just kept downplaying it. I was just like, you know what? Maybe he is embarrassed because, he's a man and, men like to impress us. And he just kept saying he wanted to fix things and make things look good. And that's just something that I kept putting aside that I wish I didn't, because I wouldn't have wasted almost 2 years of my life with this person. Like, I honestly, it was a lesson, but I wish I would have actually listened to my gut. And I didn't. I ignored it.
And I'm sure that there's a lot of other ways so that I could imagine people would be in your shoes feeling that. And I think we could easily make up a lot of different reasons as to why we would believe something like that about being embarrassed. I want to ask you, because obviously I don't think that there is a concrete answer to this anywhere. I don't know that anyone even has an answer to this. But why do you think we try so hard to convince ourselves that there's nothing wrong, or we try to just say, oh, it must be this, or this. That's why he did that. Well, like, why do you feel like we try to justify it so much?
I think it's, well, like, for me personally, I always believe in the good in people. And that to me, I feel like I'm still working on, because there are good people out there, but then they take advantage of you. So you just try to be like, no, what if they're going through this? What if they're going through that? Like, we don't know, excuse me, we don't know like their current situation. So we just try to make them look better, even though those red flags are showing to you. Or it could be I know for me in the past, it was because I didn't want to be alone. I thought I needed that relationship. That was for me in that specific position when that whole relationship was going on. And I can't speak for other women. Maybe there's other women that are, feeling the same way, but I just honestly think it was just at that time, I just didn't want to be alone. And I just thought that I was wasting life because I was 31 and I needed to settle down. So that's what I think for me. But that was like my personal experience.
Once you finally stop ignoring those red flags, so much can change. You hit a breaking point where choosing yourself becomes non-negotiable. Let's tune into a solo segment where I talk about the massive shift from craving external approval to choosing raw, unapologetic authenticity, even if it means repelling the wrong people.
Last one. Being liked is more important than being known. I don't like that assumption at all. I would rather be disliked by certain people and actually be myself than be liked and not be myself. That's just where I stand on that. And if it wasn't clear earlier in the episode, now you know. I think that at this point in my life, like, I don't care who doesn't like me. If you don't like me, that's okay. Like, let's not hang out. That's fine. I'm good. I am always going to prioritize doing things and participating in things and hanging out with people who make me feel good. If you make me feel shitty about myself, I am not going to spend time with you. And if you don't like me because of that, that's on you. Let's discuss the breaking point for a moment, because I had mine where I couldn't take it anymore. And then I started saying no and I started speaking my opinions, and then people were getting frustrated with me. And at the end of the day, I had to remember that I had to step out of whatever was happening because I had like zero control over where I was going in my life if I just kind of kept floating along. So if your goal, let's just use this as an example, is to be fully yourself and to be chosen, you need to take a look around your circle and see that, can you be yourself with these people? Can you speak your mind with these people? And will they choose you? And not choose you in like a, you're going to be on my dodgeball team kind of choose you. It's, will they be there to support you? Will they have mature adult discussions with you, understanding why you feel the way that you feel? Or is this person just going to come around and say, oh, well, that's stupid? Because I was with someone the other day who literally did that. And it was a great reminder for me of why they are not in my life anymore. It just happened to be a run-in with this person. And like, I tried to see if there was any wiggle room for, maybe since time has passed, if we could possibly establish some type of working relationship anymore. And just that whole, oh, well, that was stupid. Like, that was, among other things, that was just a great reminder that I made a good decision in the past and that this is not something that I want in my life. Authenticity can repel people and attract people at the same time. It's kind of what I love about it, actually. I feel like maybe it's like a secret love that I have about being myself, is that you'll see that there are some people who stick around, people who have been with you the whole time and people who are brand new on your journey. And you'll see that there are people who stand by you when you are yourself, people who love you when you are yourself. And then there are people who are literally going to repel away from you because they can't handle you or whatever their reason is. Don't feel bad. They're not meant to be in your circle. That's how I think of it as. I'm like, okay, well, if my happiness offends you, then I don't want you in my circle anyway. Alignment with yourself, sometimes you want to think about this, is greater than approval. And that's how I feel, especially after making decisions to leave and move forward and do my thing. I wanted to be myself more than anything, and I'm so happy that I made that decision. But again, all of this is so internal, and you really need to think about what you're trying to achieve in your life and where you're going to go. And are your current decisions taking you towards your goal or kind of steering you off somewhere else?
Staying aligned with yourself sounds great in theory, but execution requires a real game plan. For me, that's where coaching comes in. I sat down with Marshall to talk about how building discipline, setting specific endpoints, and trusting a professional completely transforms the rate of your success.
I feel like one thing that I've always loved about coaching, no matter what aspect it's in, is that it helps me with decision making. So it's not necessarily me guessing what I should work on. It gives me a clear plan and a clear structure of what I should be doing. And also, coaching I felt helped me to also see the end game of what I should be focused on. So that way it's more of a plan that I don't have to sit down and think about, well, am I doing this right? Or do I need to keep adjusting it? Because I have someone else who's a professional who's doing it for me. Do you notice that discipline and structure from coaching helps people to be more successful and maybe a faster rate or maybe just more successful overall?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this is where for us and for me as a coach, it is clear on like, hey, what does my athlete want? Like, what is the goal of training? Right? Because a lot of times they'll come in, they won't have that. And so that's step one of coaching, right? Help them create a goal, help them create a vision and an endpoint. So, and then it's reverse engineer that. Like with you, when we started working together, it was one of those really fun situations because I knew I had a very good athlete in a lot of ways, but I knew there was a lot of complementary things that we could build into your training that would assist you in your career. So, seeing your transformation and like how your body's even changed in terms of the muscle masses that you've added, right? The lean or toneness that you kind of became over the years of training. But that was only going to happen with some weight training, right? And lifting some weights. So dancing, as you know, is very challenging in a lot of ways, but by using your body weight, right, there's a certain response that your body's going to get with using external load or putting excess stress on the body, right? You're going to get a different response. So for us, it's knowing what is the goal and when is it needed, right? So it was fun to play with that and kind of talk to you about, hey, I have these competitions coming up, in this season. And so it was very detailed and structured, which is great. Same thing when I work with my football athletes, it's like season starts at this point, we're peaking for this season is the way we would talk about it, and preparing for that. So we'll have clients that come in like, hey, I have this wedding. I got to lose 50 pounds by this wedding. It's just one of those things where those tend to be very beneficial for creating that structure mentally, I think, and giving people that vision and outline, and it helps there. They don't have to be there because I'm a big fan of setting up your life that way of, hey, like, we have seasons here in New England, which makes it fun. It can give you some things to plan for. For me, I'm always like, winter bulk, baby. We're going like full hibernation mode at times. It's a good time to put on some weight and put on some strength. And then spring comes and it's like the natural evolution. It's ingrained in us to, okay, time to clean some things up, cut some things out of your diet, right? Prepare, to get outside and move. And it's just one of those things where it creates a plan in my head that makes it fun to train for, and it makes it so it's not so routine and consistent. You can change some things up. So we do that in the gym with a lot of different things that are internal in-house. So we have some things we shoot for to create that exact idea, give some milestones, some events that challenge athletes in a broad range of ways, but it gives you something fun to train for.
Having a clear structure is key, but life isn't always black and white. I love a good game of devil's advocate, so next up, we're circling back to the phrase, if they wanted to, they would. We're looking at both sides of the coin when it comes to communication, understanding someone's capacity, and how deeper intentions play into the way people show up.
All right, I love a good game of devil's advocate, so let's go after it. If they wanted to, they would. This phrase can be interpreted in so many ways. Again, we already mentioned that some people like it because it can give closure. Some people like it because it almost is that reason that your brain is searching for. Like your brain loves to search for reasons as to why something happened the way that it happened. And this kind of helps. I mean, this is like in no scientific way whatsoever, but it almost just helps you to kind of process like, okay, it wasn't me, it was all on them. Right? So also you're avoiding blame for anything by thinking the phrase. If they wanted to, they would. I think that sometimes when someone doesn't do something, the automatic assumption is that, yeah, they didn't want to. They're not interested, whether it's romantic, a friendship, work, whatever it might be. You know, when someone doesn't do something, we just think, okay, well, they didn't want to. And then we move on. But maybe it involves a conversation if it was something really important. Maybe this person is just really nervous to say something. And again, for devil's advocate, I'm always curious to be on the other side of why things happened the way that they did. And sometimes you're not going to get an answer. There's something that I know I'm never going to get a real answer for, and I just wish this person would have told me the truth. Like, and I could easily just say if they wanted to, they would. But at the end of the day, I know that it's something so much deeper that they're just not telling me. And everyone's going to have their own reason, whether you like it or not, or whether you agree with it or not. You need to make your own decisions on how you're going to move forward with whatever the situation was. But I like to always think of putting yourself in their shoes. Like, think of how many times you wanted to do something, but you didn't do it. And think of the reasons why. Because if you have all of these reasons as to why you didn't do something that you wanted, this other person probably does too. And yeah, there's always a chance that this person just like doesn't give a shit. And that's just how they are with everything in life. So yeah, occasionally this phrase is correct. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to think, okay, well, how many times like did I want to say something but I didn't? And why didn't I say it? Whether it was fear or embarrassment or just nerves. Like there's always just those moments where you just put yourself in their shoes for a second. Or maybe you can't exactly put yourself in their shoes, but just to kind of give you that thought of, okay, well, maybe there is actually a reason why they didn't. Now, an uncomfortable truth for both sides is number one, maybe they just really didn't want to. When you experience their inconsistent effort, or you experience a lot of waves of silence, or really short one-word answers, whatever it might be, maybe they just really didn't want to. And that's okay. The other half of that is maybe they really did want to, but they lack some capacity to show up. Maybe their maturity level isn't at the same level as yours. Or maybe they're just not clear. So maybe their communication style is off. So this could totally go either way. And the intention matters. And so does the execution of the intention. But the thing is that most people will place this judgment of if they wanted to, they would, before they even figure out the intention and how this person tried to show it. Next time you think about the phrase, if they wanted to, they would, pause for a second and wonder why you're thinking this phrase in the first place, what the situation is, and if maybe this person is worth sticking around and trying to get down to the bottom of it and figuring out why maybe they didn't do what they wanted.
Before I officially wrap things up today, there was one last conversation I couldn't leave out of this compilation. It ties everything together perfectly. I sat down with Rylan to talk about ambition, embracing our differences, and how guarding your energy, even down to who you follow on social media, is the ultimate way to stay aligned with yourself.
One thing that I really wanted to get across, which I think we have definitely managed, is that you can be polar opposites and still be ambitious.
Those are the best people. too, like, because you've taught me so much, and I feel like I've taught you something as well, like, and that's what's really cool. Because if you were the same, what are you gonna learn from that person? You know what I mean?
It's true. It's true. I think embracing your differences is a beautiful thing and learning from each other. Like you named all of those people for who you look up to. My list would be nowhere near what Ryland's list is. Like I'm going with Tom Brady, like Mark Cuban, Emma Greedy. Like these are all completely different people. And again, there's no right or wrong because everyone that she named is amazing too. So no matter where you feel that you fit in being ambitious, whether you're quiet and ambitious, maybe you're an extrovert and you're more outgoing and ambitious, everybody can be different but still go after what they want.
Exactly. And being different's cool.
It's true. It really is because I've said for a long time, when I was in the wrong circle, I openly said to people, like, I don't fit in. Like, this is not somewhere where I fit in, and I don't know how I could ever fit in here. And my coaches knew that, people knew that, like, that was something and how I felt. And eventually I made the decision to leave because it wasn't the right circle for me. And honestly, that was one of the best decisions I ever made.
I love that. You gotta listen to your gut sometimes.
hmm And I think the same goes for social media as well. Curate who you follow because what you take in also can lead into, your ambition or lack thereof. So I do think we have to acknowledge, in the days of social media, your circle can extend to the information that you're taking in online because a lot of times when we're scrolling, I don't think we realize sometimes how much we're actually taking in.
This is true. This is very true. And I think, like, again, like, it goes back to, like, there's so many people that are like, follow for follow. And I'm like, do I want to follow this person whose energy is completely different from mine just to have a follower? Or do I want to wait for my audience to come find me? Because, again, it's not only like, oh, it's cool, the number went up. It's what energy am I accepting into my space?
I think one of the biggest things I've learned lately is that growth doesn't always come from one giant life-changing moment. Sometimes it comes from tiny realizations, the red flag you finally stopped ignoring, the boundary you finally keep, the moment you start trusting your gut again, the moment you realize not everyone deserves a front row seat to your life, the moment where you stop shrinking yourself just to be accepted. And I think that's what this episode really became, just a collection of conversations, thoughts, and moments that reminded me how important it is to stay aligned with yourself, even if it can feel uncomfortable sometimes. If any part of this episode resonated with you, comment which part it was below and share it with your friends because I genuinely love seeing which moments connect with you the most. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode. We have a very exciting guest coming up. In the meantime, follow along on social media at spttog podcast.